So rational inequalities. To solve this question, I'm going to show you a very easy way to do this. Much simpler than what you've seen before, most likely. So we're going to start off with just drawing a number line because we're going to resort to this number line later. Okay, so now the best way to do this, first of all, you got to find your non-permissible values and your x-intercepts. So how do we find the non-permissible values? We find the non-permissible values by factoring the bottom. So let's just rewrite this as x minus 2 all over. And if we factor this, we're going to get x minus 7, x plus 1. Two numbers multiplied to give you a -7 and add to give you a -6, -7 and 1. Greater than or equal to 0. So definitely my non-permissible values, x cannot equal 7 and -1. And that's the first thing we're going to show on our number line. -1 is right here, so it cannot equal this. And it cannot equal 7. So these are the two values that it cannot equal. Now, after that, I need to find my 0. Or the x-intercept. If I'm finding the x-intercept, you treat all of this as if it was equal to 0. Of course, we cross multiply all the bottom into the 0 and it just becomes 0. So when you multiply both sides by x minus 7 and x plus 1, what you end up with, x minus 2 on the left side, and then equals, I'm just going to treat it as equal for now, 0. Again, when you set up this to 0, you cross multiply the bottom into 0, it becomes 0. So you're just left with x minus 2 equals 0. And therefore, x equals 2. That's your x-intercept. So I'm going to go to 2 right here, and that's my x-intercept. And I'm going to shade this circle because the inequality says greater than or equal. Since it's greater than or equal, the equal sign indicates that you're going to shade this circle. Now, what do we do after? If you look at this number line is being divided to 1, 2, 3, 4 segments. So if we call this one, and we call between -1 and 2 is 2, and then between 2 and 7 is your number 3, and between 7 to infinity, it's number 4. Okay, so we're going to test the number in the first line segment, which is between -1 and infinity. Of course, when you want to test a number, don't choose a big number and make your life easier. Just go and choose the closest number to -1, which is -2. So if you sub in -2 for the x's here and test your inequality, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to put -2 in here. And when you put -2, minus 2 is going to be -4. So all you need to know is it's negative on top. Now here, -2 minus 7 gives you -9. So that's negative. And -2 plus 1 is -1. So if you look at this negative, and the bottom, you have negative times negative on the bottom. So that's positive. Negative divided by positive is negative. If the overall is negative, is it greater than or equal to 0? A negative number is not greater than or equal to 0. So we don't shade in this region. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go to the second line segment, which is between -1 and 2. In this case, between -1 and 2, the best number to test is the 0, because the 0 is very easy to test. Why? Because when you put 0 here, you're going to get negative. When you put 0 here, 0 minus 7 is negative. And when you put 0 here, you're going to get positive. Now, you have negative times positive on the bottom, which is negative, and you have negative on top. And then negative divided by negative ends up being a positive number. Is a positive number greater than or equal to 0? Definitely yes. So we're going to shade in here. Okay, now let's go to the next line segment again. So you want to test a number that's close to 2, and I think 3 would be your best number. You could choose 4 or 5 and 6 if you want, but just not your numbers get a little bit bigger. So let's test 3. Any of these numbers will give you the same answer. Just make your life easier by choosing a small number, so it's easier to add and subtract. Okay. So now let's go to the 3. If you put 3 in here, 3 minus 2 is 1, so that's positive. You don't need to know the numbers really. 3 minus 7 is -4, so that's negative. 3 plus 1 is 4, so that's positive. And the bottom, negative times positive and negative, and then you have positive divided by negative is negative. A negative number will never be greater than or equal to 0, so you don't shade in here. Now let's go and test in the last interval or line segment between 7 and infinity. So we're gonna test 8. We're just gonna take 8. You could take 10 if you wish. You want to take 10. Okay, let's take 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. That's positive. 10 minus 7 is 3. That's positive. 10 plus 1 is 11. So that's a positive number. Well, positive times positive is positive on the bottom. Positive divided by positive on the bottom is positive. So you end up with a positive number. Is that positive number greater than or equal to 0? Definitely yes. So what we do then, since it's true, we shade in here. So again, if we got a positive answer here, a positive is definitely greater than or equal to 0, which means it gives you a true statement. And when it's true, you shade. If it's false, it's not. Like when we ended up getting a negative on the left side, it's false. Negative cannot be greater than or equal to 0. Then you don't shade. And that's basically your solution right here. It's shaded. Now you just have to write it. So if you want to write it as x is in between -1 and 2, and make sure the 2, since it's shaded, you do this, you put the equal sign there, or x is greater than 7. You also could write it as -1 and 2, but the 2, make sure you have a square bracket, because that means including the 2 union and then between 7 to infinity, and that's what you're shading. And both of them that have circled or rounded brackets, because rounded brackets means it doesn't include the number. So the -1 is not included since it's not in here, and that's why it's a rounded bracket. That's just a different notation to use for writing inequalities. And that's as simple as this question is. I see charts and negative, positive, negative. Come on, you can do this in your head. Like once you test the number, just write on top here what you have, and then you figure out if the overall is positive or negative. That chart, I look at it and my eyes start playing tricks on me. And this is it. This is as easy as it is. I hope this will help you understand doing rational inequalities better. Use it if you find it helpful. And if you find it helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. Comment on my video if you like, but most importantly, subscribe to my channel. Lots of good stuff on this channel. We're closer to 600 videos right now or more. I can't even keep track of counting how many videos I have on this channel. I'm sure you'll find something in it that's going to help you. Keep on supporting. Remember, I give 10% of the income of this channel to kids sports overseas. So I go every year, I travel and I help soccer clubs and equip them with clothing, soccer cleats, and hopefully one day we could even build a field if this channel gets really big. And it is only going to get big with your support. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time, bye-bye.